Yo, what is up, guys? Your boy IzuKage here with part 2, yes, so soon, of What If Deku Had Divine Dividing. Yo, you guys seem to really enjoy this what if, so I'll continue it. And yeah, let's get right into the what if. So for a bit of recap, last time Izuku trained under Issei and was having some fun with Rias, and they made their relationship official. And yeah, they completed the entrance exam, so I'm gonna start off the day they received their letters. Izuku gets a knock at the door, he goes and opens it and sees All Might. He's like, whoa, All Might, like, what are you doing here? I have your acceptance letter to UA. Oh, so this means I got in? And Inko hearing I got in, she runs to the door and she welcomes All Might in. He's like, why don't you come in? Your feet must be hurting. And All Might is like, no, I'm fine. But she's really insisting. So they go to the living room. Inko brings out some tea and crumpets. I'm not British. And All Might explains to Izuku that he absolutely smashed the previous record, so he had to come visit personally. He got over 500 points and the previous record was 210. So All Might praises Izuku even more and tells him he wants to meet him at Dagobah Beach tomorrow. And Izuku is like, fine, I'll meet the number one hero, might get my clout up. So before All Might leaves, like as he's walking through the door, he stops and says, wait, do you know anything about this girl named Rias? He looks on a piece of paper, Rias Gremory. And Izuku's like, oh yeah, I know her. He's like, what about it? He's like, yeah, she got the second highest points, but we can't really find her address. And Izuku is thinking like, yeah, you can't really send a letter to hell. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I know her, like I'll pass it on, I know where she lives. And yeah, so he gives her the letter. And yeah, oh yeah, All Might says he could bring Rias if he wants to. So the next day rolls around. Izuku had already visited Rias, gave her letter, and they kind of celebrated a bit. And yeah, so they go to meet All Might at Dagobah Beach, and Izuku and Rias walk up. They see him like at the shoreline, like not really touching the water, but he's looking all heroic. And they walk up, but they see him burst into a puff of smoke, and they see this this skeletal figure of All Might. And they were kind of freaking out, and All Might realizing that they were here, they're like, oh, you saw that? He's like, yeah, we did see that. So All Might is like, yeah, well, I was gonna tell you about it anyways. I actually want to pass down my quirk to you, Izuku. And Izuku's like, you can pass down quirks? It's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, quirks can be anything these days, so why do you think passing it down is weird? So they have a little conversation, and Izuku, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't accept more power. So Izuku accepts the power, and as he's taking it in, All Might is like, yeah, you might have to wait a few hours for it to set in. And he's walking away, but he hears this huge like crash, and he turns around and sees that Izuku isn't anywhere. He looks and sees Rias like walking towards this hole in the wall, and he's like, what just happened? He goes over and sees like this white skeletal thing. So what happened was, as Izuku ingested like All Might's hair, it immediately like went into his system, and he went into his balance breaker. So All Might is like, well, that worked quick. And yeah, so Izuku gets out. He's, oh my god, this is so trash, bruh. So after saying sorry to whoever wall he just broke, Izuku, they go back to their homes. Kind of want to just skip to UA. So their first day of UA, Izuku meets up with Rias, and they walk to school, and yeah, they have their first day. They walk into class. Everything's pretty chill so far. They get in, and Ida is there, and some other students are already there, and they run up on them, and he's like, oh my god, are you the two that like crushed All Might's record? And Izuku is like, yeah, a little something. And Ida is like, oh my god, you're such an amazing student, more than me, and you too. I didn't get your names. They explain Izuku and Rias, and Ida is like, please, you must forgive me for such a rude, like, introduction. Yeah, back at the entrance exams. Izuku is just like, yeah, it's fine, and yeah. So as they go to their seats, everyone start making a bunch of noise, and this really pisses off Aizawa. So Aizawa gets up and he's like, I thought you guys were gonna be a change. I woke up and I told myself I'm not gonna expel this class on the first day, and everyone's looking like, expel who? And Aizawa is like, but I'm really reconsidering that. So he tells everyone to shut up and take these clothes, like these gym clothes, and meet him outside. Now, everyone is like, why is he behaving so strong, man? And Aizawa just flashes his red eyes, and people are like, yep, yeah, outside, yeah, we're outside, exactly, yeah. So they go and change, and they like meet everyone outside. Everyone comes out, and Aizawa is like, okay, so the number one place comes up. Izuku walks up. He's feeling himself a little bit. So he goes up. He goes right into his scale mail form, like the armor, and with a touch of One for All, he launches the ball, and it's infinity. Aizawa is looking down at the monitor thing, and people are like, so what did he get? Aizawa turns it to them, and they're like, infinity? Because, like, yeah, he's in armor and stuff, but it didn't seem that strong, really. So they're pretty impressed. Some people are jealous. Some people are a bit interested in his quirk. So yeah, that goes on. Izuku smashes like anything conceivable fight from any of the challenges. I've always seen him completely smash all of these physical tests, and he's dumbfounded like, All Might Jr., hello? So overall, Izuku comes first, Rias second, Todoroki third, and Bakugo fourth. And this kind of hits Bakugo in his pride, but hey, he'll recover. He probably won't. So let's jump to a day later when they have the hero versus villains test. All my busts in the class, enter in the class like a hero, or whatever he says. And he's like, well, guys, we'll be doing the hero versus villains test. And he goes on to explain that, it's 2 versus 2, whoever touches the bomb. Just explain stuff like that, and yeah. So he tells them to put on their hero suits. Izuku doesn't really put on anything because, his scale mail armor will work as a suit. So they go to the control room and they pick teams. The team for this one is going to be Bakugo and Todoroki versus versus Izuku and Rias. So they enter the building first, Bakugo and Todoroki, and they set up the bomb, stuff like that. And while they're doing that, Izuku develops a plan with Rias. He says, leave everything to me. And Rias just smiles and says, well, I can't really stop you, so yeah, sure, why not? So while when they're ready to go in, Izuku and Rias enter the building, and before Bakugo as they enter the building, Izuku transforms, but his wings pop out and he says, proximity divide. And this ability allows him to divide anyone's power within a certain range. So you keep hearing divide after divide after divide, and people are wondering what is this, because the people in the control room aren't feeling it, but Bakugo and Todoroki upstairs, they are. So Izuku and Rias go up and they reach the bomb room. They open the door and they just see Bakugo and Todoroki lying on the ground. Todoroki looks up, he's struggling to even raise his head. He tries shooting ice towards Izuku, but some little ice cubes just shoot out. He's like, pathetic. And Rias goes up and touches the bomb. Hero team wins, and Izuku just leaves those two on the ground. And everyone in the control room is like, what is his quirk? Is it that armor thing? Is it wings? Is it whatever that was? Is it strength? Like, everyone is so confused at what this man's quirk is, but one thing they know for sure, it's amazing. It's really sick. So they, when they go in, Momo still does the MVP thing. She actually says Izuku, but he should have incorporated Rias. Izuku's like, well, she touched the bomb. Almighty's like, yeah, he has a point. She did touch the bomb. So yeah, after that, the USJ happens. There's not much between the hero versus villains and USJ. They still have, the League of Villains still break into the school when the reporters were storming the gates. So they do get the schedule of where all the teachers should be with all the students. So they still know about the USJ. Yeah, Izuku has mainly been training, trying to get a grip on One for All. So they hop on the bus to go to the USJ, and they're talking, doing whatever kids do on the bus, and Rias is like sitting in Izuku's lap. They're hugging and stuff. And Mineta, he's cursing himself. That's like, that damn Izuku, he always gets the babes. And Izuku, hearing this, he just does a slide divide, and Mineta is like on the chair, like almost dying because he's already weak. So if you divide what's weak, it's just bad. So as Mineta is struggling to live in the backseat, they arrive at the USJ and they get out. Izuku and Rias feel something off. They enter the building and don't see anything, so it's a bit weird to them, so they don't press the issue. So as the 13 still does her speech, and as they go downstairs towards all the different areas, the portals start appearing. Out of them come a bunch of villains, over like 60 villains, and no, over 100 villains. It's even more than canon, and they're all focused on the staircase, because they're planning to just slaughter everyone. So they basically rush the staircase, and they go to turn back and run out of the building, but a portal appears behind them, trapping them. And Aizawa was like, damn, we're really about to die. But yeah, Izuku is like, nah, mate. So Izuku, seeing all the villains rushing towards him, he enters his scale mail armor, and he tells everyone to stay behind him. But Bakugo is like, oh, what are you gonna do, you damn weak? And Izuku, before he could even finish, Izuku's like, divide. And he says divide like 3 times, and Bakugo is on the ground. And yeah, so everyone is like, okay, you do you. So Izuku looks towards the crowd and says, all the villains start feeling weaker, like they're being drained. And obviously Izuku can't manage all of the power coming into him, so you can see his wings. When he takes in too much energy, it like flows through his wings. Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, it's all flowing through his ring, and all the villains basically collapse. Kurigiri and Shigaraki seeing this is like, Shigaraki's itching his neck. He's like, this is so unfair. And Shigaraki says, Kurigiri, get the Nomu. So this giant portal appears and the Nomu comes out. Izuku is like, finally, something I can toy around with. So using all the power he just gained, he rushes the Nomu, punching it. He punches a hole right through the Nomu. He was moving that fast, but the Nomu just sealed up, and the Nomu's flesh healed around Izuku's hand, so it's stuck in him. He's trying to drag it out, and the Nomu just starts punching him in the face, wailing on him. But Izuku finally like backs up a bit, and so Izuku backs up a bit and lets out energy blast, and this blows up like the entire body of the Nomu. But since its brain is still intact, it regenerates. And Izuku is like, okay, so you regenerate from your head. Alright. So Izuku rushes the Nomu. He just grips his head like some kid and crushes it. And he's expecting the Nomu to like, to this to be it, but the Nomu still regenerates. And Shigaraki is like, You're never gonna defeat Nomu. Like, you have to completely disintegrate him. And Izuku's like, oh, that's it? And he's like, what are you talking about, that's it? So Izuku starts flying up, and he's channeling One for All. This is only around 15%. And, he's gonna use speed to his advantage. So Izuku starts building up speed. He's flying around and around, almost at the speed of light. And as he's gone around the USJ probably 20 times, and this is only like 5 seconds. Don't do the math, cause I don't know how fast it is. So he goes around and in like 5 seconds, and it's kind of like a mass punch, like that Flash does. So he flies around and punches the Nomu, and the Nomu just explodes into blood, like there's nothing left. He hit the Nomu that hard. And, some blood gets on Shigaraki, and he's like, no, Nomu, that was supposed to kill All Might. And as soon as, Izuku just completely destroys the Nomu, All Might jump in, is like, I am here. And he sees the blood everywhere, and he sees all the villains collapse, and he's like, well, it seems you guys are good. And he notices that it's Izuku. Izuku literally did everything, and he's like, I knew I chose the right choice to be my successor. So the police come, they arrest all the villains, and, Rias runs up to Izuku, asking him if he's okay, and he comes out of his scale mail armor. He's like, why wouldn't you think I'm okay? Rias just smiles, and she gives Izuku a hug, and yeah, that's gonna be leaving this one off. You guys really seem to enjoy the series, so I'm gonna finish it. And I feel like I keep saying this in my what ifs, but the Rick what if isn't going anywhere. It's really popular as well. People really want it, but there's so much stuff happening in Rick and Morty. It's so hard to put it in a what if, but don't worry, I got you guys. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. If you like the video, if you like my content in general, why not subscribe, you feel me? But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next what if.